This is Biker Caliente. I'm here in the Caliente garage. In this video, I want to go over with you some information about this primary drive gearboat for the Honda Goldwing. There's a misconception about this primary drive gearboat. Some of you out there that have been considering purchasing a Honda Goldwing after watching the video about the Goldwing recall nightmare, some of you guys are a little bit apprehensive on making a purchase, or some of you out there may be apprehensive on getting the primary drive gearboat recall performed on your Honda Goldwing. So I got some information that I want to share with my viewers and go over with you the information that I have. And hopefully after watching this video, you have a better understanding of this boat recall and clear up any misconceptions or rumors that may be floating around. So let's get started. So if you guys are just tuning in, please take this opportunity to click the subscribe button. Here in this video, we're going to talk about this primary drive gearboat for the Honda Goldwing, and hopefully we can put some of your fears to rest. So thank you guys for tuning in. So today I'm going to go over the service bulletin that was sent out to the dealerships to perform this recall. I would like to thank one of my viewers, Rick Clark. He's one of my viewers there in Alaska, and he sent me over some of this information that I'm fixing to share with you here in this service bulletin. So looking here on the screen, let me make this a little bit bigger. Make sure you guys can see this. I'm just going to read, and you guys can follow along as I read out loud. This service bulletin was issued by American Honda Motor Company. The safety recall from 2018 through 2021. It gives the model information, primary drive gearboat replacement. And again, it's based off of your VIN number. So just keep that in mind. The last rider had a 2022, and his bike fell under the primary drive gearboat recall. I'm not sure how that happened. I'm not sure if that's only in America for these years or if that's everywhere. But again, it goes by your VIN number. So just keep that in mind. So you may have a 2022, but if your VIN number falls under the safety recall, then that will apply to you. Moving right along. The background: Honda is launching a safety recall on certain 2018 through 2021 Honda Goldwing motorcycles to replace the primary drive gear tightening bolt. Due to a malfunctioning defect, the primary drive bolt may fail during use and cause the engine to stall while riding, increasing the risk of a crash or injury. So I'm going to put a pin right there. That was one of my questions that I was having. Why did Honda actually come out with this bolt recall? Well, according to the service bulletin, it says due to a manufacturing defect. Due to a manufacturing defect, the primary drive bolt may fail during use and cause the engine to stall while riding, increasing the risk of a crash or injury. Affected units as of October the 24th, 2024. You must not sell certain new or used 2018 through 2021 Honda Goldwings motorcycles until they are repaired according to the service bulletin. To search for applicable recalls on a specific unit, you must use the unit information on IN. To manage your affected new inventory, use your dealer e-responsibility report on IN. Now, customer notification. American Honda intends to mail customer letters to all owners of affected 2018 through 2021 motorcycles, Goldwing motorcycles. There's the model number there. I'm just reading it for short. In December 2024, customers will be informed that their motorcycles may be affected by a safety-related defect and will advise to make an appointment with an authorized dealer for repair. Parts information. Initial parts availability is limited in supply. Parts will be released as they become available. We're going to put a pin right there. Now, a lot of you out there, you're scheduling your appointment to take your Honda Goldwing into the dealership. Well, they can't order your parts until they have your bike. They have to take the VIN number and I guess send that in to get the part that you need. So I know there are some people out there that's been wondering, well, why come I just can't get the part ordered, and when you get the part in, we'll bring the bike into the dealership. Well, that's not the way it goes. Once the dealership has your bike, they'll take your VIN number to order your part. Now, there may be some dealerships out there that may do that, but for the majority of the dealerships, they want you to have the bike into that dealership before they actually order your part. Description: the kit flange bolt. The kit flange bolt, that's for the DCT, manual transmission. The kit includes, this information here. I'm not going to read all of this, but it is here for you. Repairs must be performed by a qualified technician. Performing this repair exactly as shown in repair procedure instruction is critical for the remedy to be effective. Carefully follow all instructions. Service management should inspect and confirm the repair. After completing the service bulletin update, submit one warranty claim per unit with the following template number. So it tells you how to file the warranty, which we're going to move past this. Here's a picture of the boat. Before you can begin the repair procedure, verify that the unit has not already been repaired by searching the unit information on the IN. The new countermeasure boat has a raised protrusion on the boat head. So here's the regular boat with the little arrow because it has left-handed threads. But the new boat has an arrow with a little protrusion. So if I zoom in, you can see that little protrusion there, that little dot. And that tells you what the original boat looked like. And this is the replacement boat. Building a special tool. The technician is responsible for building two special tools to aid in the disassembly and assembly processes. Special tool A. It kind of gives you a part number for the connecting rod to create a tool to lock the rotation of the crankshaft when loosening or tightening the 12 by 30 millimeter primary drive gearbolt. Flatten the rod bearing by using a vise or hitting it with a rubber mallet. Fold the rod bearing in half and then attach some mechanic wire to it to make a long handle. The long handle ensures the rod bearing tool does not drop into the engine when removing or tightening the primary drive gearbolt. If you drop the special tool in the engine, you must completely remove the engine and disassemble to retrieve the tool. So let's read that again. If you drop the special tool into the engine, you must completely remove the engine and disassemble it to retrieve the tool. So Honda is telling the technicians that you're going to have to make two special tools. And that tool is designed to lock the rotation of the crankshaft when loosening or tightening the 12 by 30 millimeter primary drive gearbolt. So, and I kind of think this is where it falls on the dealership. See, Honda has sent out this bulletin to say, this is how you perform the recall. But if a dealership does not follow the procedure and not use the special tools, then the tube could actually fall down into the engine, and now the engine has to be removed. So that's why I say this doesn't fall on Honda. It falls on the dealerships that are performing this recall. You know, one of the questions that I actually got was, what was the name of this dealership? And I will get into that a little bit later this week. But one thing I will tell you is that it was not Southern Honda Power Sports. So if there's anybody that's watching this video and you've been wondering where should you take your Honda Goldwing in to have the primary drive gear bolt performed for the recall, I highly recommend just taking it to Southern Honda Power Sports. They're in East Ridge, Tennessee. They do excellent work. The technician is certified. I highly recommend you take your Honda Goldwing to Southern Honda Power Sports. So if there's anybody watching this video and you was wondering who was the dealership that messed up these bikes, it was not Southern Honda Power Sports. But I will get into the dealership a little bit later this week, so just stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to zoom in. We're going to look at Special Tool B. We looked at Special Tool A. Remember, the technician is responsible for building two special tools to aid in the disassembly. Special Tool B. This special tool holds the primary drive gear parts together and prevent the drive gear subgear. It prevents the drive gear subgear and gear springs. I know some of you was wondering about springs, like where are the springs located? Well, it tells you right here. The special tool holds the primary drive gear parts together and prevent the drive gear subgear and the gear springs from separating, which is what happened in Mr. Pat's case. They was using a special tool to remove the bolt while compressing the springs. The gears turned and the springs popped out. So it tells you right here in the bulletin. I mean, it's right here and in black and white. The special tool holds the primary drive gear parts together and prevents the drive gear subgear and the gear springs from separating. If the drive gear components separate, the springs or other parts may fall down into the engine cavity. If the drive gear components separate, the springs or other parts may fall down into the cavity. And that's what happened in Mr. Pat's case. They was taking the bolt out and the gears turned, springs popped out. In the case of James there in Norway, when they took the bolt out, the washer that sits behind the flange bolt fell down into the engine. So I know there's a lot of people out there. Some of you guys didn't like the fact that I put these videos out. Some of you guys may think that it makes Honda look bad, but it actually doesn't make Honda look bad. It makes the dealerships look bad for not following the recommended procedure. And let me say this. So Honda sent the service bulletin out for the shops that have, and this is to my understanding, for the shops that have a lift. They do not have to take out the fuel tank. They can lift the bike up in the air and perform the recall from the bottom. So I'm going to show you this quick video real quick of how this actually looks when a shop come in from the bottom that has a lift. So as you can see, the technician is bringing the bike into the shop and they're strapping the bike onto the lift and lifting that Honda Goldwing into the air. So what he's going to do, he's going to drain the oil, because you got to drain the oil, and it'll show it in that bulletin. We're going to show that here in a second. He has the boat out. There's a picture of the boat. He used a special tool. As you can see it right in place there on that video. He took the boat out and now he's putting everything back in. Now this video has been sped up for the sake of time. This video has been sped up for the sake of time. I just wanted to show you real quick that it's okay for the dealership to perform the boat recall from the bottom if they have a lift. Now, the way the service bulletin shows it is giving directions to the dealerships as if they don't have a lift. So it's their option, to my understanding, from what I'm told, the dealership has the option to go from the top. If the bike just sits on just regular concrete, they can go from the top by removing the fuel tank, or they could lift the bike up in the air and go from the bottom, just like I've showed here in this video. I'm just going to show this one more time real quickly. They're bringing that bike in, lifting it up in the air, because most shops probably wouldn't have this type of lift in the shop. But if they have this kind of lift, just like Davis Motorsports did here in this video, they did an excellent job. The video is running at a higher rate of speed just to show the work. As you can see, they had the boat right there. That boat there stops the gears from turning. He's performing the recall. He's draining the oil. He filled the back up with oil, and he has taken the Honda Goldwing off of the lift. So I hope that answers some of your questions, because that was one of my questions too. Is dealerships taking a shortcut by coming in from the bottom, or are they supposed to come in from the top or come in from the sides? And I think is at that dealership's discretion. But Honda gave the instructions to those dealerships as if they did not have a lift. So if you don't have a lift, you can come in from the top. If you do have a lift, you can come in from the bottom. And I think some guys are trying to take even more shortcuts by coming in from the side. So I just want to put that out there for you guys. So let's go back and look at this service bulletin. Okay, it's talked about the special tool. Technicians must build this special tool by using a 6x100 millimeter flange bolt and a 6x1.0 millimeter nut. The bolt and the nut are completely or commercially available, or you can order the Honda parts shown below. There are several combinations that work. Both bolts with a 6 millimeter nut. Only order one bolt and one nut based on available parts and inventory. It is vital that the 6 millimeter nut is threaded up to the flange bolt, so there are 12 to 15 millimeters of threads between the end of the bolt and the face of the nut. If this tool is not used and the primary drive gear assembly separates, the spring or other parts can fall into the engine and will require the engine to be completely removed or disassembled to reinstall the primary gear assembly. And that's what happened in Mr. Pat's case. The dealership was taking off that bolt. I'm not sure if they was cutting a corner, if they was not using a special tool, but apparently when they was taking out that bolt, the gears turned. And as it says right here, if the tool is not used and the primary drive gear assembly separates, the springs or other parts can fall into the engine and will require the engine to completely be removed and dismantled to reinstall the primary drive gear assembly. And it actually shows you what this actually looks like, because what's happening, and we're going to find a picture here, it gets into how to come in from the bottom. It's actually telling you what to remove. Remove the exhaust pipe cover, the side cover. We're not going to get into all of that. Remove the seat, the rear view mirror removal. And like I said, Honda is giving it to you as if the shop does not have a lift. If they do have a lift, then they don't have to follow all of these steps. But they're just giving it to the dealerships as if they do not have a lift, like removing a top shelter. So we're going to keep scrolling down. And this gets into removing the fuel tank, the battery, and the battery box. All that has to come out if you're coming in from the top, the engine side cover. Okay, so it's giving the directions as if a shop does not have a lift, but if they have that lift, again, they can come in from the bottom. It's the dealership's discretion. It gets into removing the radiator tank and removing the integrated starter generator. It talks about the airbag model. It talks about draining the oil. We're not going to get into all of that, but now we're at the clutch cover removal, right? So if they came in from the top, they still got to get in this area. If they come in from the bottom, they still have to get in this area. Okay? So they're going to take this cover off, which covers this part of the engine. Okay? So that primary drive gear bolt, let me zoom in. It's right up in here. There it is. So if you just try to take this bolt out without locking these gears, it tells you that the springs on the other side is going to separate and fall back down into the engine. So you got to put in the special tool to lock these gears from turning. Okay? So it gets into how to remove it. I'm going to go a little bit further. There's another picture of it behind the clutch cover. And this is what it looks like. You got the bolt there. There's a washer. This looks like some kind of sprocket or gear. All of that ties into that engine. The primary drive gear bolt removal installation components. So it gives you that information. Okay, so you gotta lock the gear in. So if any dealership try to remove that bolt without locking this gear and this thing turns, now the gears are gonna separate and the springs are gonna fall out. It tells you to align the gear teeth of the primary drive gear sub gear by prying the gears through the holes. Okay, and hold them with special tool B. The primary drive gear on the back of the pulse rotor consists of 2 gears. There is only one oval hole. On the thin subgear on the surface side, the engine may have to be rotated to put the oval hole in the correct orientation. The correct orientation is between 4 and 5 o'clock. So basically lining up those gears to get, and this is what I'm trying to get to. This is what I'm trying to get to right here. So you're going to tighten the bolt of special tool B into the oval hole to secure the thin subgear on the surface side of the primary drive gear bolt. So if you look at this illustration, here is the primary drive gear bolt. And this is where you're going to insert that tool because you don't want those gears turning. You don't want that subgear turning. So as you can see right here, this is where they actually kind of put this little special tool, kind of wedged it in between those gears to prevent the gears from turning. So that's basically what has to happen. To get this bolt out, you don't want anything turning, and those special tools will prevent the gears, the sub gears, from turning. Here's another illustration. There's the primary drive gear bolt. There's the special tool. There's this little, I'm going to call it a wedge. If you look here, where it tells you to insert the special tool between the primary drive gear and the primary driven gear in order to lock the rotation of the crankshaft when loosening or tightening the primary drive gear bolt. And it tells you when loosening the bolt, set the special tool A in the right side. When tightening the bolt, set the tool in the left side. So there are specific steps that Honda issued to all of the dealerships on how to do this bolt recall. But if a dealership decides to cut some corners and not follow this bulletin and not follow the instructions the way Honda have it laid out, that's going to result into parts falling inside of the engine, and then that engine has to be removed. It even gets into showing how to torque for a left-handed boat, because that primary drive gear boat is a left-handed boat. It's not righty-tighty, it tightens to the left. Okay, so it gives all that information. I'm not going to read all of that. About adding oil, test drive, it gives you specific information about how to perform this primary drive gearboat recall. Controlled parts order, the procedure, it gives all that information. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's why I wanted to show you guys on the screen. And I appreciate my viewer for actually sending this over to me so I can show you guys. It answered a lot of questions for me. Again, this bulletin went out to all of the dealerships. It went out to all of the dealerships, and those dealerships they have to follow the bulletin just the way it was sent to them. If they have a lift, they can pick the bike up in the air and go from the bottom. If they don't have a lift, then they can go from the top, remove the fuel tank, open the bike up, kind of like how I did when I worked on my bike, open that bike up, and then they can do the recall from the top of the bike. But they have to use the special tools that Honda is telling them to use. Otherwise, the gears will separate, springs and parts can fall back into the engine, which is what happened in Mr. Pat's case. So the takeaway from this video is that I want to get out to you guys is that this is not on Honda. This is on dealerships that are possibly trying to cut corners. So if you are a dealership and you're watching this video, you got to follow the service bulletin that Honda issued directly the way they sent it. Otherwise, you may be purchasing a new motor for the customer, or you might have to replace their bike. So that's not on Honda. That's on the dealership. So I just want to put that out there for anybody that's watching this video. If you've been skeptical and you've been unsure about should you take your bike in for this recall, and I know there are some of you out there, I've read your comments, some of you kind of like backing up, like, wait a minute, maybe I don't need to buy a Honda Goldwing. I'm here to tell you that this is one of the most sophisticated, reliable motorcycles that Honda ever made, and I absolutely love it. If I can do it all over again, I would make the same decision. So the Honda Goldwing is safe. You don't have to worry about that. The bike comes with a 3-year unlimited mile warranty if you purchase it new. Honda did issue the recall, but they gave specific instructions to those dealerships on how to perform the recall. But it's up to the dealerships to follow that service bulletin according to the way Honda laid it out. If they try to cut the corner, then they can have a problem. That's not on Honda. It's actually on the dealership. So I just want to put that out there. So if you're wondering where should you take your motorcycle, where would I recommend a dealership to perform your recall? I recommend Southern Honda Power Sports. They're in near Chattanooga, out there in East Ridge, Tennessee. Or you could take your bike to DFW Honda out there in Grapevine, Texas. Both of those are great dealerships. I highly recommend them. I mean, there are dealerships all over, but I am recommending those two, Southern Honda Power Sports and DFW Honda. I know some of you guys probably thought that Southern Honda was the one that did that bad recall job, but it was not Southern Honda. Matter of fact, it was not even in the state of Tennessee. It was in the state of Mississippi. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to be getting back with Mr. Pat, getting an update on his situation with his Honda Goldwing. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, don't hesitate to put them down in the comment section below. If you have had a Goldwing nightmare experience with your Goldwing and you would like to share it with the viewers, I'm going to leave my contact information within the description of the video. My telephone number is 901-468-9032. You can call or text, or you can email me at chriscaliente thanksbud@yahoo.com. And if you would like to support the channel, please take the opportunity to click the thanks button. It really helps the channel out. So drop a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you a little bit later out here in the Caliente garage. Hello?
He was mad. Hey, cuz, look, somebody watch your video. I told him, I said, my cousin did that. That's my cousin. There it is.
Hey.
Watch your video.
Hey, what's going
You want that up?
Huh?
Your new Goldwing.
There it is behind me.
Nice.
Yep. You watch my videos?
Yeah.
Okay. You ride?
I'm an old Goldwinger from a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you
I just picked up a 95 SE,
okay.
14,000 miles off.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a good bike. The 95 SE. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I just picked it up last weekend.
Okay. Yeah. How long you been watching my videos?
Oh, God. Since I bought my 91, 4 years ago?
Oh, okay. Okay. Good deal, man. I appreciate it, man.
91 was the first one I had, and I had absolutely nothing about them.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. You still riding, pretty much?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and the wife usually do a 7-10 day trip every summer on them.
Okay.
I can't get her to drive it yet, but she'll ride the back of it.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, as long as she ride.
There you go.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, nice talking to you. What's your name?
Nathan.
Nathan. Okay, Nathan.
Okay, talk to you later.
Appreciate it. All right.
All right, cuz. We on your podcast now?
Yeah.
Oh, I interrupt you?
Yeah. I was fixing. Yeah, you good. But I,
Sorry.
but
I'm like, do you? I said, that's my cousin.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna hit you back.
Okay, I'm about to get off.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Bye.
All right.